Okay, so this is the second video that I'm making for the creation of my steampunk rifle, made out of a Nerf Vortex Praxis, which is one of the new Vortex lines of Nerf, which is the ones that use the little green foam disc instead of darts. Anyways, I did a lot of searching online, and well, I came into the possession of this Nerf gun over Christmas from some friends. And it was a gift exchange. I managed to get it, and I pretty much wanted to steampunk it out. After looking up online, I couldn't find anyone who'd steampunked any of the new Vortex line of Nerf yet. So as far as I know, my pictures of what I'm working on is going to be the first steampunked Nerf Praxis gun up online. So, whoop whoop. I've done a Maverick before, but almost everyone's done a Maverick before. So this is a fun new challenge, and I'm actually making some good progress with it. I guess I can show you. First off, this here's how the right casing is coming along. Never mind the blue tape, this isn't anchored down yet. This is simply a metal piece that holds in the canisters. This is a little lever thing I created that's pressing against the CO2 cartridges, or I guess for purposes of this gun I'm calling them the steam canisters. This lever is not going to remain there, it's going to be up inside. Anyways, the general idea for this is I imagine the CO2 cartridges being the same way that it is generally for a paintball gun that uses a CO2 cartridge. A CO2 cartridge, for those of you who don't know, is basically compressed air. It has some unique properties to it, but in general, in my idea of this, these CO2 cartridges are packed full of steam, and I imagine them being just the same way a paintball gun is, and that is, you plug them in, they're good for so long, and when they're empty, you trash them. So anyways, I imagine that this bar is always here, always present on the gun, and this here, it isn't very mobile in all truth, because it's just a prop, it's not functional in any way, shape, or form. But anyways, I imagine that this would pull back, and you'd be able to stick in the canisters. The pieces are actually outside, but I have a piece of a pencil that is going to be attached to the main portion of the gun, and it looks like the ends of these CO2 cartridges plug into the end of it. I guess this is a better example. Either way, I imagine that this is always present. The CO2 cartridges go in, plug into the end of this thing, and just like a gun, a paintball gun that uses them. Okay, well, first off, a CO2 cartridge, as you can see, hopefully, they have holes in the end of them. That's because these are empty canisters. An unused canister has a flat end, and when you push it in, given enough pressure, a needle on the inside of the valve that's going into breaks the seal, and the air flows into the chamber. I imagine the same exact scenario here. So in this case, you put the CO2 cartridges in, up into the little valve piece, and then this piece, this little leather button thing I imagine, you would have there, and you'd push it really hard. The CO2 cartridges would snap into there and would break the pin, and to keep this holding them in, there's this bar that, as you saw earlier, fell in, but it's going to be extending from this thing down to kind of the cracks between the cartridges. So the idea is you push this really hard, it pushes the CO2 cartridges into the nozzle hard enough to break the pins and allow the steam to go into the gun, and this little lever kind of goes like this, and it snaps into place against something where it can't go back against until you pull the lever back. So in general, it has a little thing, you push it really hard to snap the steam cartridges into place. That's that for now. I got some goodies today at the art store. I found actual cogs, which really impresses me. I can't believe I actually found real gears and cogs. Along the same lines, I also got this little set of small keys and keyholes. I'm only going to need one of these keys. I haven't decided which one I want yet. This one is really fancy looking, so it's a good candidate, but this one's also kind of cool. I'm going to use one of these two, this one or that one, as the keyholes that I'm using. And I've seen it used on various steampunk items that people have made, where basically you need a key to start it. So I can do the same thing for my gun. I can even imagine it as a sort of valve. I was imagining, well, initially I was going to make a little valve on the side of my gun. So it looks like you would turn the valve more or less to turn off the pressure of the steam going in from the steam cartridges into the actual gun. And you could make the flow stronger or less. I guess it would, if it were a functional thing, it would shoot farther or shorter, or be less lethal, I suppose. But either way, instead of actually making a valve, I've decided to drill a hole into the side of the gun and put one of those small keyholes on the side. Probably the left side, not this panel here, with the actual cartridges. The opposite side, which is going to house the pressure gauge. And it'll be up near the top, and instead of it being a little valve that you can turn, instead it's going to require a little key. You put the key into the hole on the side of the gun, and pretty much as you turn the key on the inside of the gun, it would release the flow for the steam to go into the gun, hence turning it on. And when you take the key out, the position where you would turn it to take it out would mean the steam would be off. So the initial process would pretty much, I'm going to use a knife for this, putting the key in so it wouldn't do anything, and as you turned it more and more right, it would open up the flow, and the gun would stay on for all that. And as you turn it left, it stops the steam power, and at that point is when you can pull the key back out. So that's the general idea behind that. As for my actual valve, I have this piece. I'm not sure exactly what it's called again, but I know it has something to do with piping. It's threaded on the inside and goes on something. I'm not a very hardware knowledgeable guy. But anyways, taking this piece of plastic, super glue on the inside, on the inside lip, and I found this image online of this really old looking valve. And someone's already touched up in Photoshop because they did the same thing for a Steampunked project. He posted the image online. Anyways, I got it printed out. I don't have it cut out yet, but this is the image for the valve. So once I take this plastic piece, I set it over top of it. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And just to make it, I guess, just a little bit better, I also have this little antique arrow piece that I'm going to put on the inside of it. So instead of it just being a flat image of the hand, it's going to also have a raised up hand on the inside, so hopefully that'll make it look even cooler. That's the majority of everything new for the gun today so far. I didn't get to work on it much today, but I'm about to once I get done making this video. For the actual gun, this is what the actual clip looks like. The top part isn't really painted since it's going to be hidden up inside the gun anyway. Downside is the Nerf logo and vortex and all that crap is all etched in, which means I couldn't remove it with a sander. I know there's like epoxy and stuff that you can fill the cracks with, but I don't have any of that. I can't assume it would be very expensive, but either way, I'm going to figure out what I can do with it. Possibly put some kind of metal stuff over the logos or figure out some way to fix it. But in the case that I can't, I also have this, which is, it twists onto a water gun. I've primed it black and given it a coat of the brass gold that I've been using. Gold brass, I guess is the more correct way. And it's the perfect size. So, let me move my gun over. So, in the case that I can't get that to work, I can't make it looking cool, while it wouldn't be functional, this here could potentially look good. It, of course, goes in further, but I can't fit it up under the gun without knocking my crap everywhere. So, that's that. Oh! Oh shit. I think everything's fine. Okay. That piece is fine. Alright. Durable. The CO2 cartridges, thankfully, are already empty because I emptied them, so they did not explode at that point in time, which is cool. Nothing broke. No paint got scratched off at all. So I guess something's working with the primer and whatnot. Something was working. No harm done. A little bit of a shock, but no harm done. It was captured on video. I failed on video. But I decided to take more varnish and go over my wood panels again. If I can get this into some better light. I have such horrible lighting in this kitchen. Okay. Well, anyways, bottom line, I want them a little darker, so I'm going to add like another coat or two on them tonight before I permanently seal their fate onto the side of the gun. Oh, this is also new from the last video. I noticed that a lot of steampunk guns I've been seeing have scopes, and I guess it only makes sense. Some of them look really cool with scopes, but a lot of them are also not only a modded Nerf gun, but a modded Nerf gun scope. Mine didn't come with a scope, so I've been making one. And this is the interior piece of a flashlight. One moment. Hello. I am right here in the kitchen, Mom. I'm sorry if I woke you up. That was the casing for my gun hitting the floor. Yes, nothing broke, no paint got scratched off, and everything is perfectly cool. Okay, love you. Good night. Alright, apologies for that. My mom is sleeping on the other side of that wall. So, gun hitting the floor, kind of woke her up. Anyways, the scope. This scope is the inside portion of a flashlight that didn't work anymore. And basically it had a red rubber coating, which is apparent there because I still have yet to paint that. But in general, this is going to be my scope. I have a piece of... I know what I'm trying to think of. A paper clip, there we go. I have a piece of paper clip that I've bent so I can make a crosshair on the end of this. That's also gold. Don't know what I'm doing with the rest of it or how it's going to get attached yet. But I have some faith that it could look cool. So that's really all the news for my gun so far. And this is video 2 of making this. So I'm going to get going to keep working on this. Later.